Alright. Now let's try it. Now let's see what we got here. Well, following is not big enough. Just migrating between platforms. But I do want to let you guys know that if this account gets banned, at Gabe the Great 18 over on Instagram, at Gabe the Great, also at Mercy for Maya. Those are the other two pages you guys can follow. We're gonna get started here in a couple minutes because I switched platforms. I was over on Instagram and then I came over here. So, but welcome everybody to the National Unity Conference. I was gone for a week. I had a birthday. Thank you everybody who contributed. As you guys know, Sunday was my birthday. What's today, Monday or Tuesday? I forget, but 2 days ago it was my birthday. And I made a video asking folks to help me out. Right now I'm trying to get my daughter's case to the United States Supreme Court. I appealed a backtrack of the story. Okay, so yesterday was, or 2 days ago was my birthday, and on my birthday I made a video about my daughter, trying to get my daughter's case to the United States Supreme Court. I said I was trying to raise $2,000. So far we've raised $1,200 just from you guys here on TikTok. So thank you guys so much. You guys can go see that video on my page. But right now I'm trying to get my daughter's case heard before the United States Supreme Court. I want to talk about that at the end, but welcome back to the National Unity Conference. I was gone for about a week. Last time I did one of these, I got kicked off. So hopefully this time we won't get kicked off here. We're going to try to keep it light. We're going to try to keep it positive. We're going to try to keep it inspirational tonight. I know in the past we've talked a lot about things. We talked about the male loneliness epidemic. We've talked about covenantal government. For those of you guys, if you're first time here at the National Unity Conference, we are a group of people who are coming together for the sole purpose of trying to start a pro-human society. We want a pro-human society, and we're looking forward to writing a new constitution. We're going to write a new constitution. We're all bonded by the Overman's Manifesto. I'm going to be going through a page of it tonight. The Overman's Manifesto, you can download a copy of it in my bio. In the bio there, link in the bio, you can download a copy of the Overman's Manifesto. We're going to be talking about a little bit of it tonight. We're going to be talking about the system, right? Everyone's talking about the system. Like, how do we stand up to the system? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about that. I addressed that specifically in the manifesto. But again, if this is your first time, welcome to the National Unity Conference. I am not left. I am not right. I am a father who is done negotiating his rights with the United States government. I'm just done. I'm not negotiating. I am a human. There are certain things I believe that I deserve, that I am required, needing to have to exist. So I'm not negotiating that with the United States anymore. And if you guys are on the same page, welcome to the National Unity Conference. Make sure you're clicking the heart, the like button if you're liking it. If you're enjoying it, that does help me. That does get this out. Welcome to people. Welcome back to, if it's not your first time, please say hey down in the chat. Let me know you're here. Hey everybody, welcome back to the National Unity Conference. This is that weird guy I told you guys about at the beginning. I was parked up there and then all of a sudden he just came and like parked next to me. Dude's really weird. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to be, if you already have a copy of the Overman's Manifesto, we're going to be on page 46 tonight. Okay, again, if you want a copy of it for yourself, go beep beep. If you want a copy of it for yourself, link in the bio, the Overman's Manifesto. We're going to be on page 46 tonight. Now, the cool thing about this manifesto, I wrote it in a way that you can pick it up from any place. You can pick it up from page 46. You can pick it up from page 12. You can pick it up from page 8, and you will be able to dive right in and get something out of it. Okay? Tonight, we're going to be talking about specifically the system, okay? And I want to talk about how it gets addressed right here on page 46, where we get into society. So, The Overman's Manifesto. In the Overman's Manifesto, I talk about how reality is made up of three things: the self, society, and the unknown. Okay, and in part one, I talk about the self and how the self, you, me, we're comprised of three things: universal consciousness, our body, and the environment. That is what makes up our idea of ourself, who we know ourselves to be. We don't get to decide that by ourselves, right? It's shaped by our body. It's shaped by a universal consciousness that feels bigger than us, that allows us to wonder. Again, even today in 2025, we don't fully understand consciousness, right? So this universal consciousness inside of every single one of us that is different for every single one of us and manifests itself differently in every single one of us. And also the environment. The environment shapes who we are, right? And so that's part of reality. And then also society and the unknown. The unknown is exactly what it sounds like. It's everything that we don't know about, everything we haven't heard of, everything we haven't envisioned yet, okay? It's the unknown. And in my manifesto, I talk about how society, and we're about to get into it, so where we're at in society is we are now afraid of the unknown. We are now afraid of what we don't understand. We're afraid of information that seems different than us, right? And right now we're going to talk about how this part in the society, how society has turned itself inward. And society is now, eating away at itself. And that's where we're at right now in the United States of America. So if you guys are enjoying this so far, please make sure you are hitting that like button so it get pushed out to more people. Again, this is the National Unity Conference. This is for any and everybody. We are here to build a pro-human society for all people, one that works for all people, okay? But let's jump into this, okay? Page 46, Overman's Manifesto, if you got you a copy, okay? Society. Society is the greatest story ever told. And like all great stories, it begins with a question. Who are we? But society doesn't ask that question the way a single self does. A society can wonder, can weep, can wrestle with its own contradictions in silence. A society must answer it aloud. It must proclaim itself in ritual and language and architecture and anthem. It must create symbols, rituals, punishments, and rewards. It must assign value to bodies, define roles, name enemies, canonize myth, and call it normal. That is society's first sin, the illusion of normal, as if billions or millions or even thousands or hundreds of cells, infinite in experience and variation, could ever be contained by a single code of conduct. But society is not built to hold the infinite. Society is built to function. And in that function, the infinite must be shaped, curved, contained, organized, sometimes inspired, often weaponized, because society, for all its institution and ideals, is just a mirror held up to the collective self. And a mirror, no matter how clean, cannot reflect what the light refuses to touch. So it reflects what it's taught to reflect, and it repeats what it's taught to repeat. And in doing so, it liberates or limits. That is the tension at the heart of all civilizations. The war between the selves who want to be free and the selves who need control. That's the first thing I want to talk about tonight, is that there is no system, there is only a war. Okay? Make sure you guys are hitting that like button for me. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, thank you so much for the gift. Thank you for the lightning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you guys for the likes. But that's the first thing that I want to talk about, is that there is no system. There is just a war. Okay? The idea of there is a supposed to is a lie. There is no supposed to. You do not need an instruction manual on how to be human. You know how to be human. You know what hurts you before you understand language. You know what you don't like before you know how to communicate it. There is no supposed to. I can't tell you how to be you. I can only communicate my humanity to you, right? I can only communicate that to you, and in that, we understand that there's a collective consciousness. In the first part of my manifesto, I talk about how every single human being is nothing more than the universe getting to know itself. I am the universe getting to know itself. You are the universe getting to know itself. Your mom, your humans are the only things in the universe that ask why. Nothing else. No, not the trees, the stars, these cars, our clothes, this chain. Nothing else in the universe asks why. Therefore, that is what makes us unique. What makes us unique is that we create narratives. We create stories about existence and reality. We create that. We are the universe getting to know itself. And in that, we create the system, us individually, right? This is why the system is so hard to challenge, because the system is the unconscious programming that you think is reality, right? That you think is the way that things are supposed to be. But I can't tell you how to be you. You are unique. You are unique, and no one can tell you how to be you. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have laws. That doesn't mean that we just have, chaos. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what it means to be human. We are now living in a time period where there is a supposed to for humanity. And in that, there becomes this war between the people who just want to be free, just want to be liberated, right? We don't actually care that much about the politics. We don't actually care that much about who's in charge. We, as a matter of fact, we will give power over to other humans. We don't have any problem with that. We just want to make sure that those who have the power, that those who are governed, understand their responsibility and understand that we want to be free. So in doing so, we understand that in a society this big, we got to give power to people. We don't got a problem with that. Just don't trample over our freedom. And this is the war that we're at right now. It's not left. It's not right. It's not necessarily rich. It's not versus poor. It's not necessarily educated versus the uneducated. It's not necessarily white versus black, but it's something different. It's now a war between those who want to be free and those who need control. If you look at a lot of the things that are happening in our country, United States, that's where I'm at. If you're looking at a lot of things that are happening in our country, there's no rhyme or reason to it if you just want to be human. Like, if you just want to exist, a lot of the things that are happening does not make sense. And we keep trying to make sense of it. We keep trying to tell ourselves stories about, maybe it's this ism. Maybe it's this phobia. Maybe it's this ideology. Maybe it's this religion. And in some way, there's truth in that. There is some truth in these things. But at the same time, at the end of the day, sometimes you step back and go, what are we even fighting over at this point? Like my case, my daughter's case, the way a lot of you guys, I think I gained like over 150 followers from that one video. So some of you guys know me from my daughter's case, right? What am I fighting? I understand that you need a lawyer in our legal system, but that's what I'm fighting. I'm fighting this idea that as a father, I need to pay professional legal help for 7 eyewitnesses who say that, for them to say what they saw. That doesn't make sense. We don't need to be loaded down with all these processes and procedures that just make it difficult to say what we already know. That makes it difficult for the government to act in the way that they told us they were going to act, right? There's just a war between those who want to be free and those who want to control. And so there is no system to fight. There is only the internal war of self and the external war of competing narratives and visions. So the first war is on the inside. The first war is understanding. I always tell people, the first act of resistance is detaching from the media, detaching from the things that are trying to influence, they're trying to tell you how to think, how to interpret your external world. I've started implementing going on walks for like 2-3 hours in my day now. Like I've learned that I don't care what the system tells me. I know the system tells me I gotta hustle, hustle, hustle. No, bro. I am personally optimized best when I can take 2 to 3 hours out the day and just go for a walk. And yeah, that may mean that I don't have certain luxuries, and that may mean that, yeah, that means I take certain time off for work. But as a human being, I disagree with this. I know I do hustle, like, don't get me wrong, but I just disagree with this ideology that I need to work 2, 3 jobs just to get by. No, I optimize. I function best. I've been me my whole life. The first war that you got to fight is in the mirror and go, wait a second. I don't have to I can scroll up. I can scroll up. A lot of us, we blame the algorithms. The algorithm is just nothing more than a machine learning about you, getting data points about you, your behavior. It's a mirror. And that's what a lot of us don't want to accept. The media is a mirror. The algorithm, what pops up, it's a mirror. And the first war is with the mirror. The first war is internal. The first war is, am I consciously engaging with reality? How much of reality am I just unconscious from? How much of reality I'm just going through? I'm just following the script. Whether it's left, whether it's right, rich, poor, black, white, I'm just following the script. How much of my reality am I just unconscious? So the first war is internal. And then once you have stabilized yourself, once you are rooted in something real, something authentic, something that's truly you, again, I can't get on live and tell you how to be you. You've been with you your whole life. You know how to be you better than anybody else. You don't need an instruction manual for that. You don't need a God to tell you that. You don't need a leader to tell you that. But once you are rooted in your own authenticity, once you are rooted in that, once you can resist the scripts of society because you've done the work in yourself, right? You can resist these scripts. Now, when we go out, now we have a competing world of narratives. And different people are going to pop up and they're going to tell you narratives. They're going to tell you this is the way that the world should be. This is the way that reality is. Oh, this is just how things are. But until you're rooted in something uniquely you, now you go, wait. I don't got to give that narrative any attention. That narrative doesn't serve the collective. That narrative isn't beneficial towards all of us. When I talk about a pro-human society, when I talk about a pro-human constitution, I'm talking about a constitution that would never, ever split a human being into 3/5. I'm talking about a constitution that would never, ever, ever say that women don't have the right to vote or poor people don't have the right to vote. I'm talking about where these things are not debatable anymore. And we got to understand there is a war between those people who are inhumane and who want us to agree to their narrative of reality. And then there are, and between those of us who are like, no, I'm not debating my humanity with anybody. My daughter, I think it's preposterous that I have to get to the United States Supreme Court just to debate my daughter's humanity, just to get society to understand that requiring children to retain lawyers is self-defeating because children can't earn money. You are reinforcing a two-tier justice system where only the children of wealthy parents have rights and the children of poor parents don't have any. That's the war. I don't care what color tie that person got on. I don't care what color skin they are. I don't care none of that matters. The war is between competing narratives. And my narrative says children should not be required. The justice system, the legal system should not be so complex that the average citizen needs to purchase professional legal help. That's the war. The war is no longer about the laws. They're not even respecting their own laws at this point. The war is about we got to debate. I'm not debating my humanity with you. I exist now. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with my authentic existence. And so the first war, like I said, is internal. So again, supposed to is a tool of control. So, and I understand that consciously for myself. When I proclaim that society should be this way, I fully consciously understand, even when I proclaim that, that is a tool of control. But I also understand that there's a war for control, whether I like it or not. And if the people who do not have good morals, good values, and good principles don't get their voice in there and go, no, that we should not have to deal with this. We should not have to deal with all this stuff. Wait, I'm sorry. What right are you losing? Be specific. Bro, the Constitution doesn't guarantee anybody rights outside of a very specific caste. That is objectively true. The United States Constitution does not guarantee anybody any rights outside of a very specific caste. Women are not guaranteed rights by the Constitution. Poor people are not guaranteed rights by the Constitution. Black people are not guaranteed rights by the Constitution. Now, you want to go, there's been amendments. Okay, there were the first 10, right? The Bill of Rights. But let's be real. Since then, we've really only had 17 changes to this living document in 250 years. No. Read the Constitution. Go read it. I know what you're talking. All men are created equal. Now go read what the Constitution says. Go read who can vote in the Constitution. Go read who is considered property in the Constitution. Go read, and even read the amendments. Slavery was never taken. Go look how long it took for women to get the right to vote. Go back and read your history about how long it took non-land owning white men. Non-land owning white men had no legal right to vote at the start of this nation's founding. If you did not own property and were wealthy and were above the age of 21, you did not have any say in this country. 1/5 of the American population at the founding of the Constitution was considered property. This is objectively true. Every right you have, including the weekend, the United States government fought against it. They fought against it. I don't care what other countries did. I don't live in other countries. You're just obfuscating, right? See, this is what I'm saying. This is how you have to deal with people like this. You got to go, bro, I'm not negotiating facts with you. They want to, again, another competing narrative. Stop playing the victim. They think facts is victimization. They think facts are victimization. Like, just read the document. Like, if you're not going to actually read the Constitution, if you're not going to actually read what it says and then get online and say no facts. You see what I'm saying? These are people that I tell people this all the time. You address these people, but then understand, you cannot debate these people into intelligence. When I make a claim that the United States Constitution did not guarantee women rights and did not guarantee poor white men rights, these are facts. Anybody who wants to debate that is not someone who can debate, because all you would have to do is read the document. There's nothing to debate. That's why there were amendments. There would be no women's suffrage if these weren't facts, okay? So this is why we just got to move on, okay? So let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. Again, right here, it picks up. And this war that you guys see happening right now here on live, it's not ancient. It's now. It's coded in the policies. It's echoed in protests. It's buried in budgets and stitched in school curriculums. It is the quiet war between the loud noise of daily life. Most people do not see this war. They are too close to it. They are too bound to the norms they were born into to question it. That's what makes society powerful. It convinces you that it is reality when it is only a framework built by other selves, most of whom are long dead, some of whom who were never worthy of the power that they had. Yet their ideas live on in laws, in lies, in legacies. This is what we inherit. So let us begin again, not with what society is, but what it's meant to be. Not with who it serves, but who it should elevate. Not with the myth of civilization, but with the truth of power, that whoever shapes the framework shapes the future, and that it's time for a new kind of self to pick up the pen. That there is a war for the soul of society, and that war is not fought with armies. It's fought with influence. It's not waged with violence, though that may come. It's waged with vision. Because whoever shapes the story of society shapes the soul of society, and at every level of human history, that story has been shaped by a ruling class. Whether kings or capitalists, priest or politician, there have always been those who rise to the top, not just of wealth, but of meaning. And once they rise, they do what all egos do. They bend the story of society to fit themselves. So the story of society is always going to be shaped by the selves at the top. The reason why I talk about the Constitution and a new Constitution is because I need you guys to understand something. There was a guy on here earlier claiming that a man who is in his car hosting a national unity conference, who is about to write a writ of Centaurea to the United States Supreme Court, is playing the victim. I need you guys to think about that. Like, sometimes you got to take a step back and go, wait a second. Why is there a human being watching a guy leading a national unity conference, leading something on TikTok, reading something inspirational for people? A guy who some of us found out about because he's trying to get his case in front of the Supreme Court without a lawyer. Why is there a human being whose brain tells them that that man is playing a victim? This is what I'm saying. That is the part of reality, right? It convinces you it's reality when it's only a framework built by other selves, because there's some people who've been so programmed that if anybody speaks differently than them, they must be a victim. If anybody looks a certain way, they must have a certain character. If anybody says certain words, they must have these certain qualities. That is the framework they've been given. So you have to take it all the way back to the root and go, guys, this Constitution was never drafted for a diverse population of 330 million people. It was never, ever intended. So this is why I say step one is being your authentic self, so you can see who you are and go, wait a second, the script, what they're telling me is for me, objectively speaking, was never for me. And I live in 2025, and we have cameras, and we have technology, and we have education that far exceeds anything of the past. Why am I being bounded? Why should we be bounded to a document that was never written for us when we all have all the tools, technology, and knowledge to write something better? You just gotta win the war of the people who are gonna tell you that thinking like that makes you a victim. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not logic. It's not right, left. It's not ideology. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing, because if I'm right about what I'm saying, then the Constitution, it doesn't need to be amended. The Constitution is irrational in 2025. It doesn't make sense. I tell people all the time, I don't care if they violate the Constitution. That wasn't for me anyway. Let's focus on building something new. Let's focus on something for all of us. Let's focus on a pro-human Constitution, a living document that is going to evolve with the people, that's going to keep up with the people, not a document that's only been amended like 17 times in 250 years. Right? There's this mythology around the founding fathers that they were these amazing, great people, and they just weren't. They just weren't. They weren't more intelligent than us. They weren't more sophisticated than us. And that's just how evolution works. I'm going to say something, somebody's going to think it's dope, and then 24 hours later, a 16-year-old is going to get on TikTok, remix it, and make it sound even better. That's just humanity, dog. That's just the course of evolution. The next generation is supposed to be better than the last. We're literally in this situation because the generation that came before us didn't understand that. Because we live in a cult of the individual in the United States of America. It's all about me. It's all about me. We have no collective consciousness because our Constitution was drafted to divide. It was never drafted to unite. It was drafted to separate who has rights, where the power lies, right? Yeah. The irony, right? That's the irony. That's the irony. And it's because I say this all the time. Yo, the second the Constitution, they let the Constitution be used for people that it wasn't used for, you had to call it, it's over. That's just it. And I want us to awaken our spirits and go, wait a second, we are living through a revolutionary time period. And if we all come together, it'll be on camera. They will never debate originalism again in United States history because they can go back and watch the videos of us coming together and going, no, we want a pro-human society. Even if we don't accomplish it in our lifetime, we leave the pathway open for our children, and maybe they accomplish it or their children, but it will be here on video. We will live forever. Our faces, our voices, they matter because now history is 3D. Now, somebody can watch this live 6 months from now. Somebody could watch this live a year from now. Somebody could watch this live 50 years from now. And so if we come together and say the truth, speak truth to power, right? Say, no, we want a pro-human constitution. One that is actually written for 330 million people of a diverse population. This is why I tell people the unity is not going to be all of us doing one thing. The unity, and I say this all the time, if we all stand for something, none of us are bending a knee. And that's where we want to get to. I'm not going to tell you how to be you. I'm just here to inspire you, to awaken you, and tell you to be you. Because unlike the drafters, I believe, of the Constitution, I'm not afraid of humanity. These men were afraid of humanity if it came in a female body. They were afraid of humanity if it came in poverty. They were afraid of humanity if it came in another skin color. I'm not afraid of humanity. So I got no problem with you being you because I love being me. And I think I'm dope no matter how you feel about you. And I think there's space for both of us on this big old planet for us to exist. And we don't have to have friction. But when we are living in a country that needs our division to coexist, we're always going to be at odds, right? So let me close out with this part right here, right? This is what the narcissists do. This is what the manipulators do. This is what cowards with power always do. They make the world their mirror and then call it law. They do not lead, they step in front of. They are not builders, they are gatekeepers. And the greatest threat to them is not rebellion, it's liberation, which is why they fear the overman. Because the overman does not seek power for pleasure. The overman seeks power for the people. He does not bend reality to self. He bends self to reality until both become something greater. He does not need attention. He needs transformation. She does not demand worship. She demands that you awaken. And this is what's different. Systematic racism is not over. It's gotten way better, but that's another story for another time. I think once we get a pro-human society, all that stuff will take care of itself. Because people, like, human beings don't come into this world. Like, you have to be taught how to be that. You have to be taught how to be that, right? And so I think once we have the environment correct, it'll I think so many things will self-correct because of what I just read. I think so many systems will naturally self-correct when we start to understand, wait a second, people who never thought I was equal to them do not have the capacity to write me equality because they don't see me as the same. They don't see me or if I was a woman or if I was poor, right? And you got to understand if I was poor, right? And you got to understand that the power hungry people, they want to bend society to them. So that's why we're all in a rat race, because these guys hide behind luxury. These guys hide behind the next biggest. They need it to show the world. I don't need a lot of people to know who I am, to love who I am, to exist in the world, right? We're here to awaken. We're not here to get attention. I come on live for a purpose. I don't come on live to just give me followers. If y'all gonna follow me, I gotta lead you somewhere. And the first place I'm gonna lead you is to yourself. Because that's how we win the war. We win that war that wants to divide us. We win that war by each of us being individuals, honoring ourselves, and then going out and then honoring the rest of society. That's when we stop debating about silly stuff. We go, bro, I'm not debating facts with you, dog. If you can't read, you can't read. Like, I'm not debating facts. There's some things I just don't debate with people. If you got a difference of opinion, my belief system allows both of us to exist. I'm just saying that if people don't want to live by facts, that's just Darwinism, bro. That's just survival of the fittest, right? That's just survival of the fittest, man. Like, people they don't understand. You can lie all you want to. You can live by lies. You can live by what you're supposed to. If that turns out to be wrong, bro, this is 3D. People are watching this 100 years from now. You will look foolish. And your life will not end up the way that you think it will end up, both now and for eternity. So I just want to bring us all together tonight and really talk about those things, man. Talk about, like, we got to understand that the war, smart, passionate, ever changing. The Constitution is mine. Yeah, 100%. I'm not like, I'm aware of what I'm talking about, and I'm aware of, when we talk about changing the Constitution. But at what point does it happen? Somebody's got to start the conversation, right? The conversation got to get started. And somebody got to go, yo, this don't even make, like, they're not even respecting it anymore. Right? Like, not even respecting it anymore. But yeah, it's definitely monumental. But I think if there was ever a time in American history where it's like, yo, we got to get something new, this is it. I mean, how much more worse does it need to get, right? So it's definitely a big ask, and it's definitely something that I think will take a long time. I don't think it'll take a long time. I just think it takes the right algorithm, honestly. I genuinely believe it, because I think Americans are ready for radical change. I think Americans are desperate for radical change. And I think if you come forth with a pro-human society, a pro-human manifesto, for a pro-human constitution, I think it's what people want. But time will tell, and maybe I'm off. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't think many people care about the Constitution either. That's why I say, like, we just need a different one, bro. Like, we just need something that people actually care about, that's actually going to bind our country together. I think it's going to be, aka socialism. I think it's going to be a mixture of a lot of things. One thing I tell people is, like, yo, the United States of America is what? The fourth biggest, largest landmass country, and then, or third or fourth, and then same thing for population. Like, we are a super huge, super diverse country. I think one of our major flaws is believing that you could unite all those peoples around anything other than a shared ideals. I think our laws need to be way more localized, right? Like, I don't care about who won governor race in New York. Like, he's never going to make a decision that's going to affect my life, right? I think our country is too big, and I think that's why. I think that's why your politicians give you big, vague enemies, like the left, the right. It's like, no, bro, like, I need action here today. Like, whatever they're doing in Virginia, I hope it's better. Thank you for the rose. I hope it gets better for them. But, like, Ain't nothing I can do about that. And so I think one of the restructurings that we need is we have to elevate the role of state governors, state legislators. These have got to become really important in our lives. And then I also think that we should know that, the executive part or the federal government is pretty much there to support the states, foreign affairs, few other domestic things. But it's like one of these things where it's like, this country's too big and too diverse. I think we need to lean in diversity. Bro, this is how hardcore I believe in diversity. I believe in diversity so hardcore that I say, let's take a random state. Let's say Texas. If Texas wants to become like a white Christian nationalist state, I say let them do it. Because I believe in diversity so much. I just think that, thanks for joining the fan club. I just think that it'll eat itself. I feel the same thing about, white supremacy. Give them their own land. Give them their own stuff. I feel so strong about diversity. I say everyone get a shared set of values. Just tell us the rules. Tell us what we can't do to each other. Tell us what we got to respect amongst each other to give us a collective consciousness that makes us all American. And I say, bro, let people do what they want within the realms of our values. Now, ultimately, I don't think white supremacy will be in our values, right? I don't think you can have a pro-human society with that in there. But that's how deeply I believe in diversity, particularly in the United States of America. The last thing the United States of America needs to do is lean into like non-diversity. Too much tribal mentality. I see that. But we also talked about before, like how I think we need to get better at like community. Like community is law. I think we got to get back to like your local community is where it's at. Your local state, that's where it's at. And we need to just know that the federal government is doing their job, we need to know that the federal government is doing their job. Like I always say, like the fact that we talk about politics so much shows that our politicians just are terrible. Like I shouldn't be talking about this, bro. Like that's literally your job. It's literally your job to make sure like the country runs and the citizens are stuck on TikTok, on social media, on YouTube talking about it. Everyone's tired of it, but it's like we have to talk about it because the people who are supposed to do the job aren't doing the job. And at some point, we just got to awaken and go, yeah, there may be risk to what we're trying to do, but like, we don't have to put up with this. Like, we just don't. Like, other countries just don't, Other countries just don't put up with this stuff that we put up with. And I think we try to tell ourselves that other countries are worse. But it's like we're the only developed country that hasn't figured out healthcare. We need to remind them. I did a video. I did a video about that. How if we want them to behave like employees, we got to treat them like employees. We treat them with too much, like we're too nice, right? Like you can be kind without being nice. And when you learn the difference, it's a pretty big, like, it messes with your head for a second. Like, there's a difference between being kind and being nice. Because what you understand is that nice is just, like, the social conditioning of how you're supposed to, like, not tell the truth with people, right? We need to just start talking to our politicians like they're our employees. Like, hey, bro, you getting out of here, bro. Like you're getting out of here. You got 30 days. You got 30 days. And if you don't figure something out, like we have to, I know that sounds radical and that you're right, is there process? No. But I tell people this all the time, like revolutions are not exactly like legal. You know what I'm saying? Revolutions aren't exactly like, so what that will mean, this is why I say like we first got to awaken ourselves. Because I think when we awaken ourselves, people ask me all the time with my situation, like, why didn't you just crash out? Why didn't you just crash out when you found out about what happened to your daughter? It's because that's what the system wants me to do. The system wants me to crash out. But I have a voice that I think is powerful enough that I could awaken millions of people. And quite frankly, I think 330 million people, you know, because my daughter's story is like, bro, like this unnecessary. That's the thing that always gets me about my daughter's story, because my daughter's nonverbal and autistic, bro. She don't mess with nobody, dog. She legit be in her own world. And this teacher just, it's like, that's crazy to me, bro. Smiled in my face every day. Every day, pick up and drop off. Oh, I had a great job. Knowing what was going on in the classroom, man. It's like, bro, like, of course you want to crash out. Of course. But that's what the system wants you to do. And it's not that crash outs are necessary. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't crash out. I'm saying that we can be more strategic with our crash outs. We don't have to fall into we know the script. We know what they want us to do. We know where it's supposed to go better than they do. Because a lot of our leaders are not intelligent. Like, we are the ones. I tell people this all the time, bro. Like, I was talking with some people who, you know, they were trying to tell me, you know, Trump is a fascist and this and that. And I said, bro, do y'all really think that Trump and his team sat down and discussed the ins and out of fascism? Do y'all really think they, like, sat down and, like, oh, we got to do this, and according to, like, bro, like, we are the people who give that language. We're the people who give that language. The oppressed. We give language. We are the one who describe what the oppressor does. The oppressor just moves, bro. It just does what he wants. We be thinking way too deep about this stuff sometimes, and sometimes we just got to take a step back and go, we need to put our foot down strategically. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand, is that I could crash out by myself, or I could get all the way to the United States Supreme Court and let them hear the crash out. That becomes something monumental. That becomes something society can build itself on. When I go and learn their system, I learn the system that they're trying to use to oppress me. Even if I don't make it, even if the fact that I got here, the system is designed. The system was specifically designed so that a pro se litigant couldn't even get all the way to the point where they could ask the Supreme Court, bro. The system is intentionally designed so I don't make it here. I'm already where I'm not supposed to be. I'm already there. Just because externally I ain't got the cheers and the applause. But they want you to believe that this path that I've taken is not bigger than any and everything that they're doing over there. Because once you start challenging power, once you start speaking truth to power, you start finding out that the people in power, they aren't built of anything, because they cheated to get the power. They did. Oh no, I'm in Oregon. They cheated to get the power, and so they got the title, they got the position, but it's not backed by anything. Power is always backed by your character, right? And in America, we've been conditioned we've been trained to respect the office, respect the position itself. And that's with all levels of society, from the top all the way down to the bottom, whether it's your boss at your job. We live in a society where our elites don't have to live respectable lives, and we just think that, oh, that's cool. They want you to believe that, like, if you don't get fame and glory, then it doesn't mean anything. It's like, no, bro. The pleadings that I wrote will live on for all of eternity. Like, I'm already discussing it with other lawyers, right? Lawyers are using my arguments to make arguments for themselves, right? Like, that's already happening. And I know I don't have the cheers and applause, but that's what I'm saying. They want you to believe that this path that I'm taking, this path of, like, no. I'm not going to throw my life away. I'm going to change the entire world. They want you to believe that's far-fetched. They want you to believe that you can't do it, but they do it every single day. They change the world. Every single day they change reality. Every single day they change the law. They change what words mean. They change your rights. They change who has them. They do it every single day, and they want you to believe that you can't do it. So when y'all see somebody like me get all the way to the tip top by himself. No lawyer. No lawyer. All the way to the Supreme Court. Y'all gotta understand, they don't want you to see me. The algorithm is built so you don't see me, because I am someone who can tell you what meaning is. I am someone who can tell you what power is. They can't, because everything was handed to them. Every day they cheated to get where they are. Most of your, and I'm talking from the top to your local people, bro. Not just in politics, in business, in education, in the banks, all over. A lot of those guys who change the world every single day, they're not worthy of their position. And so they don't want you to see somebody like me come on here and talk confidently and go, I'm not arguing facts with people. I want to write a new constitution. The reason why I say that is because I've been in the trenches, right? I've been in the trenches. I've been toe to toe with lawyers and been like, yo, these guys ain't smarter than us, right? That's really why I'm trying to help y'all. Yo, they not smarter than us, bro. I've challenged judges. I've challenged superintendents. Go the song, Mercy for Maya. Go look it up on Spotify. Go listen to that song. I recorded that song months ago, right? Go on Facebook, Mercy for Maya Bella. I've been calling these guys out for almost 2 years. They don't want you to see me because I'm the guy who tells you, bro, they not built like that. They more afraid when you got the truth and they know you got the truth. The last thing they want is this, because I told, even when I had less followers than this, I said, guys, no matter what happens to me, y'all know that I was here. Even if one day I'm just that, hey man, whatever happened to that dude on TikTok? If that's my legacy, understand that may lead somebody to find my work, find what happened to me, and tell the story. So it's all about, like, they want you to chase the glitz and the glamour and the fame and this and that. And so they hide. I talk about it in the manifesto. They put infinity behind going viral. You got to go viral to find meaning. You don't find meaning in going viral. I'm telling y'all, bro. Thank you for going. Like, I'm grateful for going viral, because I was able to raise, $1,200 the past day. Thank you guys so much. I need that money. I need that $2,000 to get to the Supreme Court. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Right? But people didn't offer me that because I crashed out as soon as I found out. People didn't offer me that because, I threw in the towel, or I just became another story. Right? That's why I didn't hire a lawyer, because I was just going to be another story. Y'all hear stories about lawyers and child. I didn't want to know. My daughter deserves to be more than just another story. And I know lawyers are paid just to make me another story. I don't want to be just another story. My life means too much to me. My daughter's life means too much to me. And I'm trying to tell y'all, your life is like that too. You can feel that way about you too. You can feel that way about the people in your life. And you can be ready to go to war against the largest, biggest country in the world just off the strength, off the love of your family. You can get all the way to the top. You can knock on the top's door. And it's not about if you get in. It's about the simple fact that I know for a fact that when the founding fathers were drafting the articles in the Constitution, they never, ever, 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 ever imagined that a black man, an African slave, would be able to argue his way all the way to the tippy top of their society. I know that for a fact. And people want you to forget that. People want you to, put that in no, because they still use those things against me to this day. They still use the color of my skin against me to this day. So if I can flip it on them, and make bigger meaning out of it, make bigger meaning out of a term that they tried to use to oppress me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about how the system, I'm not supposed to get to the Supreme Court. I'm not supposed, and I'm right there. I got 90 days to write my thing. A lot of y'all don't know this, but I'm in another lawsuit with a former Colt, hitting them up for $2 million. No lawyer. And I'm not saying that everybody can just go out and become a lawyer. I do think, perhaps maybe I'm a little bit more intelligent than most. But what I do represent is self-actualization. What I do represent is that if you just commit to you, I didn't get on this path for nobody but myself and my baby girl. I didn't know it would lead me to National Unity Conferences. I didn't even think it would lead me to TikTok, right? I didn't think it would lead me to writing a manifesto. There's a lot of things that I'm doing and I'm planning now that I didn't think that it would lead me to, but I just, in my head, I was like, I can't let the system beat me. I can't become another crash out. I can't, no. I'm too smart. I'm too good. I'm better than, and it's a lot of it is pride, bro. Again, when you speak truth to power, it's just like, bro, I just know these guys not built like that. And y'all see your leaders every day on TV. They not built like us, bro. They are not built like us. They cannot get it out the mud like we can. That's what I represent. I represent someone who can get it out the mud. And y'all are people who can get it out the mud. Your leaders are not people who can get it out the mud. That's all I want to do with my life. I want to help people understand that right there. If I can get 10 people to understand that, I'll change the world. And the reason why I know that is because I don't let them decide success for me. I'm authentically myself. I determine my success. I determine my wins. I determine my losses, all by the word that I make to myself. Right? And that's how everybody should live. You don't let me tell you what success is. You let me inspire you. You let me motivate you. You let me give you advice. But you don't let me tell you how to be you. You don't let me tell you what success looks like in your life. Success might be a quiet life. Bro, success for me, that's the other part. Success for me was nothing but becoming a father. That was, for me, if I could become a father, I would have been successful in life. And I was successful in life because I never met my father. I don't care if people think I could run for this office. I don't care if people think that I could do this. My success for my life was becoming something that I had never seen before. Uh-oh. They're trying to take me out. Hold on. All right, boom, we still good. My success for me, and I do have to go in like 5 minutes here, but my success for me was not becoming rich and famous. Success for me meant becoming a dad, because I never had a father. And so ever since 11 years ago, when I became a dad, everything else has been side quests for me. As far as I'm concerned, this is side quests for me, because I determined my success a long time ago, and I never let the world take that away from me. I never let the world take away that dream. And so when I found out what happened to my girl, it was like, oh, well, it's up. Like, it's just up. Like, even on the days where I've been retaliated against, they took custody of my kids. Like, there's been so many days where I wanted, like, my body wanted to give up. But I can tell you, since August 31st, 2023, it's been up. It's been up. I just know my ops want y'all to believe that what I've been doing for the past year and a half ain't been success. But once this gets traction, I saved all the receipts. I've documented everything. It's public record. I kept all the public records, everything. They're going to have to answer to the people. They're going to have to answer to the people. They don't want y'all to know that this is how you take down the system. They don't want you to, they want you to believe that it's through fame. It's through, nope. It's through quiet, hard work. It's through quiet, diligent, relentless resistance. Just little bit of little, right? Write a manifesto or stand up to the government here, or just, it's not gonna look like you doing something big, but I'm telling y'all, if I would have gave up in 2024, we wouldn't be talking right now. If I would have gave up, if I would have crashed out in 2023, wouldn't be here. And so that's how we resist. Small, relentless acts of resistance. I'll end with this because I gotta go. And thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Thank you very much. But I'll end with this. We know about the compound interest of money, right? They tell us, hey, that's how you save money. That's how you grow money. The compound interest of money. We need to start investing in the compound interest of the human spirit. I tell people this all the time, and it sounds arrogant. I genuinely believe this, though. I genuinely believe if more people were like me, meaning more people had that spirit and understood that resistance isn't always loud, that sometimes resistance is just quiet rebelling and just standing up for what's right when nobody else is, we wouldn't be in this situation. It's not possible. It's not possible. So I may say bold things. I may say arrogant things. I may say, like, let's write a new constitution. And you may go like, but that's only because I've been behind the curtain, right? Again, I used to be a cult leader. So I've spent 13 years in a cult. So I know all about that type of manipulation and stuff. And I've been going toe to toe with the United States government for the past 2 years. And out of all that experience, I can tell y'all, your fear of them is greater than who they really are. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that they're not made of anything. They don't want you to know that this is how you get made. This is how you become something. You gotta be resistant. If you stand for something, something's gonna stand against you. And you just keep going. And that's how you develop character. That's how you develop resistance. And that's how they lose their power. Because they can't do it. They have to hide behind power. They have to hide behind weapons. They have to hide behind misinformation. They have to. Because if the world ever found out who they really were, we would hate ourselves for allowing them to have power, bro. We would be so disgusted with ourselves for allowing these people to have power. Like, if we really knew, like, if y'all knew what I knew, these people aren't built of anything. All right? So, Sunday night, we'll be back. I didn't get kicked off this time, so maybe we'll stay on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for everybody who followed. Thank you so much for everybody who donated to our cause. You guys can still read about all that. The Overman's Manifesto, what I was reading tonight. You can download this link in the bio, mercyformaya.com. You can also donate to the GoFundMe or the Pay What You Want Patreon. I'm trying to take this on the road, guys. I'm trying to get out my car. Invite me somewhere. Set me up somewhere. I'll drive. I don't care where you at, man. Let's take this on the road. Let's get out the car. Let's take this on the road. Invite me somewhere. I don't care if it's in front of 5 people. I don't care if it's in front of 500. All right. So let's take this thing on the road. Let's inspire a generation, and let's just see. Let's just see. Hey, ain't nobody getting out of here alive anyway. Ain't about to waste our time stressing over these people. Let's just see what happens. All right. All right. Love you guys. Bye.